My name is Reverend Mary Tarbell-Green, and I welcome you to Heritage Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm the Assistant Minister for Pastoral Care at First Unitarian Church of Cincinnati in Avondale, your sister church, right around the corner from St. John's. And we welcome you to today's service.
I'm Jordan Hunter, and I'm going to be your worship associate today. And welcome everyone, whether you're here in person or in the Great Hall or seeing us over Zoom or seeing us at another time. We welcome you to join us today. Especially if you're a first-time visitor, make sure that you do sign the guest book on your way in, as well as you should have received a connection card with your order of service this morning. Everyone is invited to use it, but if you're visiting us today, especially if you are hoping to stay in touch, make sure you find that and you can place that on the offering plate when we pass that out later. On the back of your order of service, we do have some announcements. If you notice, the next town hall has been noted for May 3rd. Make sure if you plan to stay after, if you want to look at that proposed budget for next year. And with that, we'll call to worship.
I think this is cool. This is Jordan's second time. This is my first time. So we're a dog and pony show today. It's going to be great. If we could take a deep breath. We have all come here today for different reasons. Each faced different challenges and shared different love. And yet all of our differences have led us to this space right here, right now. May we relax our certainty and control. May we trust in our ability to meet the moments exactly as they are and trust or discover the beauty each and every moment holds for us today. And we will light our chalice. Remy? And together we will say the covenant.
By this covenant, we affirm that love is the spirit of this church, the quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
When our hearts are in a holy place,
Trust the wisdom in each of us, every color Remy, come forward. Anyone else? Anyone else want to come up? All right, come on, y'all. Come on. Or Remy doesn't want to come. Okay, that's fine. Hello. Good morning, dear friends. Okay, I have a question for you all. Have you ever been bored?
Most days.
Yeah, okay. Yes, there's some boredom in our lives. What do you do when you're bored? Oh, yes.
That's what I do when I'm bored. I do.
Okay, so see, you become bored. Yes, okay, but look what Bethany did. This is
what I do when I'm bored. I get on my phone.
get on your phone. Do you have a phone yet? No. Okay. You're only 7, that's right. Or you eat. Okay. So,
I don't really do anything when I'm bored because when I'm bored, there's nothing for me to do. So I'm bored, which means
all right, well, I have a secret to tell you, Remy. You actually most probably handle boredom in the most holy of ways of all of us.
in the most what?
Holy of ways. You want me to tell you about that? Okay. All right, so boredom is a moment in which we're looking for some other moment except for the one that we're in. And instead of staying in the moment, lots of us go and do something else. For adults, that is often our phones, right? Oh, I have some free time. I'm bored. Let's see what Facebook has to tell me.
Nothing good.
There is nothing good that Facebook is going to tell you, unless it's going to show you pictures of like fluffy animals, maybe, right? But some of us look to distract ourselves with other things, like food. This is often why we eat sometimes as adults. Not because we're hungry, but because we don't know what to do with ourselves. And these are ways in which we look for other moments instead of staying in the moment that we're in. So, Remy, in a way, when you say, when I'm bored, I'm just like, bored. Well, you know what you've done? You've stayed present to the moment that you're in. And that is actually a very useful and difficult skill to acquire, especially when we live in a world of distractions. The moment, the one moment that we're in right now, it's the most precious moment. If we can learn how to be in it, to value it, to experience it. And so some of the ways that we have to learn to do that is to say, learning to be still. Learning to hear our own feelings and not run away from them. It's about being able to say, like, okay, how am I feeling right now? I'm bored. That's okay. Take some deep breaths. Look around. See what's in the world right in front of you. It's about learning how to stay right here in this moment. Not a future moment, not in the past, but just right here. So one of the ways that we can do that is by using our breath and our senses, okay? So if we want to learn how to be in this one moment right now, the first thing we need to learn to do is take deep breaths and be in our bodies. This body of yours right now is in this moment right now. So if we can learn to stay in our body, we can learn to stay in our moment. And then we open ourselves up to the world around us. Not as a distraction, not as a way to run away, but as a way of really being present in the right now. And the way that we learned is, what do we hear? What do we smell? Sometimes it's stinky. Yeah. Don't do this in traffic, because it's never going to go well. Okay. Sometimes it's what we see with our eyes or hear. I was on Facebook. I saw a post on Facebook where a neighbor of mine on a neighborhood group was like, does anyone have an exotic bird near the intersection of our neighborhood? And I was like, what kind of weird question is that? But they heard a noise a song of a bird that was unusual for our neighborhood and that they thought didn't necessarily belong. And so it made them curious. So then they were reaching out in a curious way based upon something they had experienced. That's the way in which we stay present and we experience our world, and that helps us connect with our broader world. So you, my friend, are the expert already on being present in the moment. And so I thank you for helping us learn about that. Yes? Okay. Thank you, Remy. Okay. Now, congregation, we're going to do our blessing as we go out to pay attention to the world around us. So, repeat after me. We will work on being present to the moment. And we are grateful for all the ways you are teaching us to do just that. Amen.
The Blessing That Meets You in Love by Jan Richardson, who's a Methodist minister, but more so an author who writes a lot about grief and loss. It is true that every blessing begins with love. That wherever else it might say, love is precisely its point. But it should be noted that this blessing has come today especially to tell you it has been crazy about you, that it's been in love with you forever, that it's never not wanted to see your face, to go through the world in your company. This blessing was thought it was high time to tell you, to let you know, just to make sure you know, it's been shy in saying this, not for any lack of wanting to. It's just that this blessing knows the risk of offering itself to you in a way that will also alter you. Not because it thinks you could stand some more improving, but because this is simply where loving leads. Love knows, how loving can sometimes feel like dying. But today, this blessing has come to tell you the secret that sends it to your door, that it gives itself only to those willing to come alive, only to those willing to be born anew. And now we have someone who is going to share about Hope Springs.
So for sharing our abundance, for anybody who's not aware, we always give 100% of the profits out to a new nonprofit every week. And this week is going to be Hope Springs. And they are a retreat center who likes to share through peace and empowerment through leadership. And I believe there should be a QR code as well for those if they are not using cash.
Since Lacey did my sermon, it's nice to meet you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I had such a hard time knowing, I never know how to start. And so I was a hot mess trying to figure out this or that, jumping between quotes and parables. And then a teeny little kind of snarky voice inside of me said, Mary, isn't today about being present? You know, the Sacrament of Presence, right here, right now. So getting kind of all red in the face, so to speak, the proverbial pot calling the frying pan thing, I closed my computer and did the best thing I know how to do, and I took a nap. I needed that quiet distance, that perspective, that surrender that only a nap can give me. Well, I mean, I could meditate, but really, the nap. So calm down, let go, and then I woke up, and I got to work and came across the most beautiful, pretty existential quote from Eckhart Tolle. He's a German teacher, spiritual teacher, author, and his book is called The Power of Now. And here is his quote. In the stillness of your presence, you can feel your own formless, timeless reality as the unmanifested life that animates your physical form. You can then feel the same deep life within every other human being and every other creature. You look beyond the veil of form, separation, and this is a realization of oneness. This is love. I have to get my glasses. I'd like to read that quote again. It's pretty deep. In the stillness of your presence, you can feel your own formless and timeless reality as the unmanifested life that animates your physical form. You can then feel the same life deep within every other human, every other creature. You look beyond the veil of form and separation. This is the realization of oneness. This is love. It's a profound quote which speaks to the both and of the sacred and the profane nature of presence. Presence is sacramental, sacred, a balm, and it is about love. Let me share a story with you. I'm in California, I'm in seminary, and I did my residency for chaplaincy at Alta Bates Summit Medical Center in Berkeley, California. I did the required 4 clinical pastoral education units, and then I stayed on as a hospital chaplain in med-surg and labor and delivery. Med-surg is clearly a baptism by fire. Busy, hectic, staff getting patients in and out fast. The nurses could not stand me because they didn't want any interruptions. And the patients coming out of surgery couldn't wait to get home. So I had my list of patients to visit, and I visit patient in this room and walk in, and it's kind of a large room. She's got a window on Shattuck Avenue. And I look around and there's no patient, the bed's empty. So I go back to the chart, and she's supposed to be in that room. So then I go back in her room, again look around, still no patient, nothing, zilch. So then I went a third time, and again, and I thought she's on this list. I got to check it off. She's not there. So the next day, in the lounge, in the nurses' lounge, there's a board. And on the board was a card that said, fire that chaplain. She's a witch. She came in and out of my room 3 times. Angry face emoji, which back then there were no emojis. It turns out that her room had a side cove, and she would pull her chair into that side cove and hide. But the nurses read, she's a witch, about me, and all of a sudden they loved me. They call me Chaplain Witch from then on out. On the complete other end of the spectrum is labor and delivery, which I loved. Anxious, exciting, moms, dads, partners, energy in the air. Yes, please do a blessing for my new baby. Or tragically, yes, please bless and baptize my fetal demise. I learned so much from both departments. Med-surg, how to turn on a dime, and then labor and delivery, how to be present for what is or what is not. When my chaplaincy was up, it was time for me to apply for a job, and there was a hospice position. I was living in Oakland, working in Berkeley, and there was a hospice opening at Kaiser San Francisco. So both scared and excited, never having done hospice before, I applied for the job and I got it. As a Unitarian, it's interesting to apply for a job when they're going to say, what is your faith tradition? And you're trying to be inclusive and universal. I had a niece who was in the 7th grade. She was a devout Catholic. God forbid, a 7th grade devout Catholic. And we were sitting down and I was explaining what an interfaith minister is and what a Unitarian is, and she looked at me and said, what's the point? Where do you stand? So I got this job, and my territory was San Francisco all the way down to Redwood City. It was a baptism by fire. I had 90 patients. Everywhere from Christianity to Baha'i to Hindu. Many, not all, elderly, World War II or Holocaust, telling their story, perhaps for the first time, and certainly for the last time. Asking if their lives had meaning. Sharing stories they'd never told or will tell again, and it was a profound experience sitting at the bedside of their story, of their meaning of life. After several years, I left Kaiser, moved to San Diego, which is where my family was. My sister, I'm from Cincinnati, but my sister was in San Diego. And I worked at San Diego Hospice, which at the time was the oldest and largest, most prestigious hospice in the country. It was an honor. It was extraordinary. But because Medicare and the medical system in general was all up in arms, they closed San Diego Hospice down. And so we had Scripps Medical Center patients, and so Scripps Medical Center took all their patients back, and they tried to start and grow a hospice. And so at the time, I was asked by my manager to become the chaplain for pediatric hospice. And I eagerly agreed, thinking I love kids. Of course I'd love to do this. Having no idea what the scope of pediatric hospice was, as there are many pediatric kids that either cannot move or talk. So I would walk into these families who were beyond brave and determined to do anything for their child who's going to live about this long. Families and loved ones were all in. One of my first visits was a precious 5-year-old named Ava Jules. Her family was strong, Catholic Filipino, dad a postal worker, mom a nurse who is now their caregiver. And the grandma, who was always there, every time I opened the door, she was there. So Deb and I, my nurse, knocked on the door, and Mom answered it with a smile just as big and large as the door she was inviting us into. So we walked into the living room, and I was scanning. You know, the role of a hospice chaplain is funny. It's the only role on Medicare that the patient can say no to. I would call that the theology of no, because I thought, all I need to do is get my foot in the door, and they're going to love me. But it was their only time. They couldn't say no to end of life. They couldn't say no to a lot of things, and so they could say no to me, a chaplain. It was a pristine environment. The kitchen was clean, Ava Jules' meds and all of her paperwork lined up next to the rice pot. And there was an L-shaped couch, and that's where Mom and Dad slept every night. And then here was Ava Jules' hospital bed. So Mom and Dad didn't sleep upstairs in the bedroom. They slept next to Ava Jules every night. Ava Jules had Dravet syndrome. It's a very rare, severe developmental encephalopathy. How do you pronounce that? Thank you. It's neurological. It causes delays, seizures, and in her case, no movement, none whatsoever. So she's on this bed. She's just beautiful. I can see brown hair, dark brown hair coming down, gorgeous eyes, eyelashes like Ramey's, pink cheeks, ivory skin. She was irresistible. Tucked in with flowery sheets and a bright yellow throw. So Mom and Deb go to the kitchen table, this little round kitchen table, and they go over to talk about, the chart and her meds and her protocols. And I see a small folding chair, and so I pull it up. And I was nervous. My brain is saying, I had this, I was degreed and competent and ordained. My brain was saying, you're good. You got this. You have lots of training, lots of education. You're so nice. You have good boundaries and good clinical skills. You get the drift. It's what we all do when we're nervous. We compensate. We overcompensate. Did I stop? Did I take a breath? Did I pause? Did I pray? Heck no, I got this. So I gently sat in my chair, leaned in the softest and the kindest voice I ever said, Ava Jules, I'm Mary. I'm here with Deb, the nurse. And then I gently placed my hand on her bed rail, and in an effort maybe to move closer, I was doing such a good job, when I noticed a tiny tear coming down her cheek. She could not move. She could not pull away. She could not tell me to back off. She didn't know me. So in that one timeless moment, I realized I was too close. She had no defenses. That delicate tear spoke volumes. And internally, I panicked, trying not to show it. I pulled back and whispered over to Mom, who turned toward Ava Jules, and in 2 seconds, so swiftly, as if this happens all the time, she smiled at Ava Jules and said, let's show Mary and Deb your favorite spot in the sun. And with that, just as smoothly, she maneuvers Ava Jules' bed out those double doors and brought Ava Jules out into the sun. It was the most grace-filled, forgiving act with no residue of panic or alarm. And just as quickly, Ava Jules was reassured, lifting her eyes up to the sun. That moment, that tear, was frozen in time. Everything, my schooling, my training, my experience, my kindness, stood still. For those brief moments, I felt the difference between agenda, expectations, fear, worry, all that and more, and grace and ease, in which Mom did the right thing. The sheer act of being present to the what's in the hows, it was like an out-of-body experience that led me to recognize how very important, how vital the sheer act of being present, aware, really is. That watershed moment taught me. Being with a patient allows me to listen deeply, pick up nuances, be aware of what's being said or what isn't. The more I practice hand sanitizing before I visit, to come home to myself, taking a deep breath, leaving expectations out the door, the more sacred my visits became, leading me to know that the sheer act of being present is truly sacramental, holy. Bringing your whole self into the here and now, it's palpable. Stillness, presence, awareness, breath, God, grace, Holy One, whatever we call that. That stillness is not us per se. It's a power greater than us. It's the woods, it's stars, it's the river flow, it's prayer or meditation, it's coming home to ourselves. A union, whatever that is for you, that force, that recognition is vital, and it is a practice. To stop, to pause, to listen, to feel, over and over. For me, this is God, Spirit of love and life, and her name is Grace, which leads us to love. That sacred space, that holy now, allowing your heart to open up to a vulnerability, a tenderness, a hallowed space that can only be described as love. The one breath that connects us all, the liminal space, a transcendent space, if you will, that offers kindness, courtesy, respect, goodwill, joy, devotion, love. The act of presence softens the edges of urgency, of judgment, assumptions, hurts, missteps. In the 1 Corinthians, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, and keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices in truth. It always protects, it always trusts, it always perseveres. Love never fails, and of faith, hope, and love, the greatest of these is love. So when I engage in the practice of the gift of presence, I am all those things. I am in concert with the universe of all of us, not the me, but the you and me and all of us. It is a practice. It's a one breath at a time practice. Dying to the separations, the hurts and the judgments. It's a calm. There is a balm in Gilead to soothe the wounded soul. There is a balm in Gilead to soothe the wounded soul. Mary Oliver writes, if you suddenly and unexpectedly feel joy, don't hesitate. Give into it. There are plenty of lives and whole towns destroyed or about to be. We're not wise and often not very kind. And much can never be redeemed. Still, life has possibility. Perhaps this is its way of fighting back, that sometimes something happens better than all of the riches or the powers in the world. It could be anything. But very likely you notice in the instant when love brings and begins anyway. That's often the case. Anyway, whatever it is, don't be afraid of its plenty. Joy. It's not made to be just a crumb. So, why talk about the Sacrament of Presence now? Why talk about the sacred Sacrament of Love now? Because, dear ones, we are in a pitch point of chaos with no true still point in our world today. Yet here today we gather together, and as Jesus teaches, when one or more of you are gathered in my name, I am there. Universal love, one breath. Love being the deep-rooted core still point that guides us when we breathe that clarity and that mercy and that justice. So that in the midst of chaos and otherness, we can be and act in love. In my reading this morning, Richard Rohr, he's a contemplative, he's a Franciscan priest. I read him every morning, and he offered this today. When we love something, we grant it soul. We see its soul, and we let its soul touch ours. We must love something deeply to know its soul, its anima. Before the resonance of love, we are largely inattentive to the meaning and the value and the power of ordinary things. To save us and to help us live in the union with the universe, the source of all being. So, today, savor your still point. Practice. Sit and watch a grasshopper. Peel a grape. Be kind and gentle with yourself. Pray, meditate, do yoga, garden, knit, listen to music, bake, practice gratitude. Sometimes the most important thing in a whole day is the rest we take in between two breaths. When our hearts are in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. So go in peace, go in love, know that you are blessed beyond measure. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
It is now time for our candles of community, where we will share any of the joys and sorrows among us. As a reminder, please make sure to keep it brief so everyone has time to share. And if you're on Zoom, now is the time to put those in the chat. Are there any joys and sorrows among us? And Bethany's gonna light the last candle for all the joys and sorrows that were not said today. And then if you notice on your program, we are actually skipping the closing hymn for an extra benediction from Reverend Mary.
O'Donohue. This is the time to be slow. Lie low to the wall until the bitter weather passes. Try as best you can not to let the wire brush of doubt scrape from your heart all sense of yourself and your hesitant light. If you remain generous, time will come good, and you will find your feet again on fresh pastures of promise, where the air will be kind and blushed with the beginning. And I think we extinguish our
Or are extinguishing our chalice if we want to join hands.
I want to thank Reverend Mary for speaking this morning and sharing such a beautiful moment with us. Please join me in our benediction.